whispers from the creeks.
The Niger Delta, where mangroves are twisted like gnat bones. The Ijaw village of Kalama clung to a restless river's edge. Ebipre, a young fisherman with steady hands, grew up under the shadow of Tamuno's tale, a fisherman who vanished after defying Ebiere, the river's spirit. The elders whispered of Tamuno's greed, how his net brimmed until Ebiere claimed him, his screams swallowed by the depth. Ebipre, cautious yet desperate to feed his starving village, offered dry gins before each fishing trip, a ritual born of fear. His sister Ijaw, sharp-eyed and fierce, watched him closely, sensing his unease. One humid night, under a red blood moon, Ebipre rowed his canoe. The river unnaturally still, no fish stirred, no ripples danced. A chill slithered up his spine, the air thick with an unseen presence. From the water's edge, a hum rose, like a lullaby laced with menace. Sparrow froze as the hum became words. Ebipre, you take, but what do you give? The voice, neither male nor female, coiled into his ears like river weed. Ebipre scanned the darkness. His torchlight flickered on the water's glassy surface. Nothing. Yet the air grew heavy, pressing against his chest. Who speaks? He called, the voice trembling. The river rippled, forming a wild pool that tugged at his canoe. He roared frantically, but the current pulled him closer. A figure emerged. Ebiere, her skin gleaming like obsidian, eyes glowing like twin moons. Her hair flowed like seaweed, her smile both beautiful and dreadful. I am Ebiere, the spirit of this river, she said. You take my children, fisherman. Now you owe me. Ebipre's heart pounded as her laughter echoed, cold and sharp. The wild pool vanished, but her words clung to him like damp rot, a warning of Tamuno's tale. Ebipre barely slept, Ebiere's face haunting his dreams, her eyes boring into his soul. He woke trembling, his net empty for the first time in months. Kalama noticed, whispers of Tamuno's curse resurfacing. The river is angry, they said. Ebipre, weary but determined, returned at dawn, his shell pendants etched with Ijaw prayers cold against his chest. The waters churned as he cast his net, spitting it back, torn, tangled with black algae. A voice hissed from the depth. You cannot ignore me, Ebipre. Fear gripped him. He recalled Tamuno's pride and held firm. He sought Mama Ine, the village priestess, her heart thick with herbs and river mud. She listened, her clouded eyes piercing. Ebiere is ancient, she warned. She gives, but always takes. Offer a gift or share Tamuno's end. Ebipre returns to the river, the pendant heavy, the air thick with decay. He cast his net, whispering a prayer. The water growled and his net sank. Pulled by unseen force, he tugged until it surfaced, filled with bones, fish and humans, gleaming wetly in the moonlight. Ebiere's voice slittered. Empty prayers mock me. Give me what is mine, or I take you. Her form rose, beauty twisting in horror, her mouth wide with eel-like teeth. Ebipre's courage faltered. What do you want? He asked. Her eyes gleamed. Your loyalty, each new moon, with a truth from your heart. Fail, and you are mine. The stench of rot thickened, and she vanished. Ebipre stumbled home, the pendant burning, Kalama asleep, unaware of his pact. Could he honor Ebiere without losing himself, as Tamuno had? Days grew heavy, the river's silence mocking him. His nets stayed empty, and Kalama's hunger deepened, eyes turning to him with blame. He avoided Ija's gaze, her questions sharp as knife. Ebiere's demand, a truth each new moon, gnawed at him. waking him in cold sweat. He thought of Tamuno, who offered the boy Keme to sate Uruere, only to lose his soul. Ebipre vowed a different path. One evening, he tossed a silver ring, his father's keepsake, into the river, whispering, "Take this, Uruere, and spare us." The water swallowed it, but her laugh bubbled up. "Trinkets cannot buy my favor," she hissed, spitting the ring back, encrusted with moss. Desperation clawed at him. The new moon was near, and Uruere's patience waned. He crept to Mama Ine's hut. Her walls adorned with shells and bones. "The river calls you," she said, her voice like gravel. Ebipre confessed his pact, his fear of Tamuno's fate. She shook her head. "Uruere's truths are traps. Offer something pure, but guard your soul." She gave him a bone charm, carved with warnings, its weight cold. Ebipre nodded, doubts swelling. At the river, he knelt, whispering, "My truth is my love for Kalama, to feed them, not for greed." The water churned and Uruere rose, her eyes blazing. "A weak truth," she sneered. "Bring me more or join Tamuno." A wave soaked him in icy, rotten water, and she vanished, leaving the charm heavy. The river's hum, a relentless pulse. Kalama buzzed with unease. Ebipre's catches dwindling as the storm brewed without rain. Aiba followed him to the river, her footstep silent. "You are marked," she said, her eyes fierce. Ebipre confessed Uruere's demands, his voice breaking. She pressed the woven bracelet into his hand, its fiber warm against the bone charm's chill. "We will face her together," she said, though fear flickered in her eyes. The elders, led by Tamuno's uncle, a stern man named for the lost fisherman, called for a ritual to cleanse the village. Ebipre brings Uruere's curse, they muttered, machetes gleaming. Ebipre returned to Mama Ine, her heart dim, herbs burning. "Uruere tests your heart," she said. "Find a truth tied to the river, or she will claim you." Ebipre thought of his offerings, shells, rings, love, but none sufficed. At the river bank, under a starless sky, he spoke. "My truth is my fear of failing my family, of drowning like Tamuno." The river roared, and Uruere appeared, her form monstrous, scales glinting. "Fear is not enough," she sneered. "Give a truth that binds you to me, or my storm comes." A gust knocked him down, the river spitting bones as he fled, Keme's whispers chasing him, a warning of the cost of defiance. Storms battered Kalama, waves flooding paths like Uruere's rot spilling over. The elders shunned Ebipre, Tamuno's uncle branding him cursed. Aiba stood by him, her bracelet a lifeline, but even she flinched at the river's rolling surface. Ebipre's mother, frail and silent, pressed a stone pendant into his hand, etched with river symbols. "Seek the oracle," she whispered. Tales of the oracle of the twin rivers, a seer of land and water, stirred hope and dread. The twin rivers, where two tributaries met, was a place of power, feared even by the boldest fishermen. The oracle, a woman said to speak with both land and water spirits, dwelt there in a hut of woven reeds. The new moon loomed, Uruere's deadline tightening. Ebipre set out at dawn, his canoe slicing through mist, the bone charms and bracelets his anchors. The river whispered Tamuno's tale, Keme's scream, a chorus of the damned. The pendant glowed faintly, a fragile shield against the cold. At the twin rivers, the oracle's hut loomed, woven from reeds and shells, reeking of decay. She sat, waiting, her face veiled, voice like the river's depths. Ebipre bound to Uruere, she said, knowing his burden. He confessed his pact, the failed truths, Tamuno's tale. Her eyes glinted. Uruere's storm is her creation, she said. Seek the oldest mangrove's heart, the river's memory to weaken her. Ebipre's breath caught. The mangrove was Kalama's soul, sacred and untouched. As he left, Urure's voice hissed. You cannot flee, Ebipre, the river roared, setting the stage for his trial. The mangrove's heart is only hope to escape Tamuno's fate. Ebipre paddled back to Kalama, the oracle's words heavy, the mangrove's heart a daunting task. The oldest mangrove stood at the village's edge, sacred to his people. To cut it would anger both the spirit and his kin. By dawn, Ebipre returned to the village, his canoe heavy with fish to mask his unease. The elders watched him closely with murmurs growing louder. Too many fish, old Tamuno muttered, sharpening his machete. No man catches such without a spirit's hand. Ebipre's sister Ijaw met him at the shore. They talk, brother, she whispered. They said you've made a pact with the water. Mother weeps at night, fearing for your soul. I have done what I must to feed us, Ebipre snapped. But guilt gnawed at him. Ayibah's eyes, so like their late father's, held worry he couldn't ignore. He wanted to tell her about Uruere, the dreams, the mangrove, but the words stuck like thorns. At night, under the cover of darkness, Ebipre crept to the oldest mangrove. Its gnarled roots twisted into the earth, ancient and unyielding. He raised his axe, but a voice stopped him. A child's voice singing from the reeds. Cut the root, loose the heart, it sang. Ebipre froze, sweat beading on his brow. Was this another spirit or a trick of Uruere's? Ebipre lowered his axe and followed the song. It led him deeper into the mangrove swamp, where fireflies danced like stars. There, in a clearing, stood a girl, not older than 10, her skin shimmering like wet clay. Who are you? Ebipre asked. I am Eriangala, keeper of the mangrove secret, she said, her voice soft but firm. Uruere seek to bind you forever. The storm she speaks of is her own making, a test to claim your soul. Ebipre's blood ran cold. Why would she betray me? I have honored her with gifts. Eriangala tilted her head. Water spirits are fickle. They give, but always take more. The mangrove's heart will tie you to her realm, never to return. The oracle holds the key, but beware of her prize. Ebipre hesitated, but Eriangala's eyes held truth, and he nodded. I will go, he said. As he turned, Eriangala vanished, leaving only the hum of fireflies. Ebipre lowered his axe, the river's pulse quickening, Uruere's eyes watching from the depths. Ebipre's heart raced, Eriangala's warning clashing with Oracle's command. The mangrove stood silent, its roots a sacred barrier he dared not cross. He returned to Kalama, the river's home a constant shadow. Ayibah noticed his trembling hands, her bracelet warm against his wrist. What now? She asked, her voice steady despite fear. Ebipre whispered of Eriangala, the mangrove, the Uruere's trap, his words heavy with dread. The elders, led by Tamuno's uncle, gathered, their eyes accusing. You have angered the river, Tamuno's uncle spat, his machete gleaming. Ebipre's mother clutched her pendant, praying silently. The river churned, waves lapping at the village as if Uruere's wrath grew impatient. Ebipre knew he must return to the oracle, but the new moon's deadline loomed, and Tamuno's fate haunted him. He paddled to the twin rivers at dawn, the bone charm and bracelet heavy, the river's current tugging like hands. The oracle's hut reeked of rot, her veil clinking with shells. You return, Ebipre, she said, her voice sharp. He spoke of Eriangala's warning, the mangrove's danger. Her eyes glinted. Seek the scale of Siki, the great crocodile, guardian of the deep. The crocodile was a legend, its jaws death. Bring it by new moon, she said, or Kalama drowns. He nodded, fear coiling. The river's hum as he left. Oruere's voice hissed, "You defy me, Ebipre," and the water surged, nearly capsizing his skin. The river's wrath grew, storms lashing Kalama, waves flooding homes. Ebipre's nets tangled with bones, a mockery of his once bountiful catches. Ayiba stood by him, her bracelets a faint warmth, but the village turned cold. Tamuno's uncle rallying for his banishment. "He's cursed," he roared, his machete raised. Ebipre's mother pressed the stone pendants tighter, her prayers desperate. He set out for the river's heart, where Siki the crocodile slept, his spear blessed by Mamaine. The water grew dark, the air thick with decay. Yellow eyes glinted below, unblinking, the great crocodile's gaze. Ebipre's heart pounded, Tamuno's screams echoing in his mind. He tossed a fish, one of Oruere's gifts, into the water. The beast surged, jaws snapping. Ebipre struck, scrapping a glittering scale. The crocodile roared, thrashing the water into foams. But Ebipre escaped, clutching the scale. The river hummed as if approving. He returned to the oracle, her heart dim, her veil hiding a sharp smile. "You've done well," she said, the scale glowing in her hand. But Oruere's hold remains. Face her in her realm, where rivers meet sea, with a truth she cannot deny. Ebipre frowned. "What truth?" he asked. The oracle leaned closer, her breath like damp earth. "One that binds you to the river's heart," she said. "Go before the new moon." As he paddled home, the river watched, whispering Skeme's name, Tamuno's plea, a warning of Oruere's hunger. Kalama trembled under Oruere's storm, the river flooding paths, the air thick with rot. The elders shunned Ebipre, Tamuno's uncle calling for his exile. Ayiba's bracelet anchored him, her eyes fierce with loyalty. "You will face her," she said, though fear cracked her voice. Ebipre's mother, frail, whispered prayers, the stone pendants glowing faintly. At dawn, he paddled to where the river met the sea, the pendant guiding him through mist. The water roared, a vortex pulling his skin under. He clutched the scale, the world blurring into darkness. Oruere's laughter echoing like thunder. In her coral palace, Oruere stood, her beauty laced with menace, eyes blazing. "You dare defy me," she hissed, scales glinting, the pendant warm. "I offer a truth," he said. "You gave fish to feed Kalama, but you seek me out of loneliness, not justice. Let me go, and I will honor you with offerings, not servitude." Her eyes flickering, "Bold," she said, "but truths need proof. Face my storm." The palace dissolved into a raging sea, waves towering. Ebipre clung to a fragile raft, the pendant and bracelet his only light. Shadows moved below, spirit creatures testing him. He whispered prayers to his ancestors, the scale glowing faintly, guiding him to calm waters. Oruere appeared, her anger softened, her form less monstrous. "You've faced my storm," she said. "Your truth and heart suffice. I release you," but the river watches. The vortex spat him back to the surface. The new moon shining, he paddled home, weary but free. Months later, the river stirred again, its home returning under a red blood moon. Ebipre, now a leader in Kalama, felt its call. Ayiba noticed, her bracelet still on his wrist. "She's not done," she whispered. The elders gathered, Tamuno's uncle weary, sensing Oruere's unrest. Ebipre stood at the riverbank and saw Oruere's form in the water. Her smile sharp. "You've honored me," she said, "but the river craves for more." A chill gripped him. Tamuno's fate a shadow. He knew another trial loomed. The mangrove's heart, his next test. Oruere's hunger never sated, ready to claim him unless he outwitted her again. The moon casting silver ripples across the water. The reeds swayed, whispering secrets only he could hear. Since his last visit to Oruere's underwater palace, his dreams have grown heavy with visions of great storm threatening his village. Tonight he has come to seek answers. Oruere, he called softly, his voice trembling. The water stirred and her form emerged, her eyes like polished shells, her hair flowing like river weed. The dreams you send, what do they mean? Is my village cursed? Oruere's laughter was like bubbles rising to the surface. No curse, Ebipre, but a warning. The river gods are restless. A debt is unpaid. She reached out, her cold fingers brushing his cheek. You have taken much from my waters. What will you give in return? Ebipre's heart sank. He had offered jeans, chickens, and even his finest goat as tribute. But Ebipre's words hinted of a greater sacrifice. Tell me what you want, he asked. A sacrifice? What sacrifice? Oruere leaned closer, her breath like damp earth. That is for you to find, Ebipre. But beware. Oruere vanished into the mangrove. He thought of his sister Ijaw, his mother, and the village elders who suspected him. He thought of Tamuno's sacrifice of Eme. Could he review his pact with Oruere without losing their trust? The village was abuzz when Ebipre returned. His skin barely docked before Ijaw rushed to him. Where have you been? She hissed. The elders called a meeting. Adasa claimed you have angered the spirit. They found your axe near the old mangrove. Ebipre's heart sank. He had left his axe behind after Ereangala's warning. Before he could explain, Adasa and the elders approached, their faces grim. Ebipre, Adasa said, his voice like thunder. You've brought misfortune. The fish dwindled, and the winds howl. What have you done? The crowd murmured, his eyes narrowing. Ebipre's mother stood silently, her hands trembling. He wanted to confess, to speak of Oruere and the storm, but fear choked him. Instead, he said, I sought answers to save us. The river holds secrets, but I am no traitor. Lies! Adasa spat. We will summon the priestess to judge you at dawn. As the crowd dispersed, Ijaw gripped his hand. Tell me the truth, brother, she pleaded. Ebipre hesitated, then whispered of Oruere, the skill, and the oracle's words. Ayibaw's eye widened, but she nodded. I will stand by you, but you must face the village and the spirit. At dawn, the village gathered by the river bank, where the priestess, Mama Ine, stood in white clothes and cowrie shells. Her eyes, clouded yet piercing, seemed to see beyond the world. Ebipre, Mama Ine said, her voice steady. The spirits speak of a debt unpaid. What have you to say? Ebipre took a breath, his sister's gaze giving him strength. I made a pact with Oruere, a water spirit, to feed our village. Her gift brought fish, but now she demands more. A storm to drown us unless I break her hold. I seek to face her with the oracle's guidance to save us all. Gasp whispered through the crowd. Adasa sneered, but Mama Ine raised a hand. She burned herbs, their smoke curling skyward, and closed her eyes. The spirit confirms your words, she said, but your path is perilous. Take this. She handed him a small amulet, a polished stone edged with river symbols. A hush fell over the gathered villagers. Dawn's pale light glinting on the assembled crowd, their eyes full of a mixture of fear and hope. The pendant pulsed with subtle warmth as though it carried the river within it. Mama Ine stepped forward, her voice resonant. This amulet, she said, will shield you in the realm where the waters and the land converge. But only with truth and humility may you return from that place. If your heart wavers, she let the warning trail off. He nodded, swallowing fear. I will not fail. Ayibawh moved beside him. Remember, she whispered, We believe in you." Her grip on his arms strengthened his resolve. The elders exchanged glances, uncertain, wavering between condemnation and renewed trust. That evening, guided by Mama Ine's herbs and Ayiba's steady hand, Ebipre prepared for the final trial. They sat by the river's edge. The water lapped gently beneath the new moon sky. The amulet glowed and the river's surface began to ripple unnaturally. A whirlpool formed, a shimmering portal swelling with moonlight and ink. Flanked by Ayiba and the priestess, he waded in, the cold water closing around him like a cloak. Moments later, he emerged at Uruere's rim, an ethereal space where river meets the sea. Bioluminescent creatures drifting on currents of silver light. The palace loomed beyond coral arches, the air scented like brine and ancient secrets. Uruere awaited, her form regal and terrible. Eyes held the wisdom of centuries. "You come again," she stated, voice echoing through the waters. "I come with truth as I did before," Ebipre said firmly, stepping forward, the amulet's glow steady in his hand. "You fed my people, but you also tested me. Now I offer not my respect, but my servitude. Teach me the balance you demand, so my village and the river may both flourish." Ruere's expression softened. The swelling currents around them calmed. "True humility," she murmured, "is the hardest offering of all." She raised a hand. Rivers of silver light enveloped Ebipre, draining away the heavy pulse at his chest. "Then keep your amulets, son of Kalama. Plant it in the heart of the oldest mangrove at each new moon. The roots will carry our covenant. Let the river give, and let your people give back through prayers, by harvesting only as needed, by guarding the waters." Slowly, the watery realm faded back into the Niger Delta dawn. Ebipre emerged from the river, the amulet glowing even brighter. His canoe drifted to shore as Ayiba rushed to him, relief and pride etched on her face. Behind them, the villagers watched in awe. The river mysteriously calm under the rising sun. Ebipre turned to the crowd. In a clear, confident voice, he began, "I made a pact with Oruere, our river spirit. Under her test, I found humility. She does not demand fear or sacrifice of children, only respect. She gives so long as we give back. From this night onward, at each new moon, I will plant the amulet's twin in our oldest mangrove. Let the river's heart join our villages." Tamuno's uncle stepped forward. His gaze softened as he saw Ebipre holding the glowing amulet. "So be it," he said gravely. "Let this covenant stand." Over the following weeks, fish returned. The river's hum softened to a gentle lullaby. Kalama's nets brimmed again. Ebipre, no longer just a fisherman, became a guardian, planting amulets, teaching his people to leave space in the net, honoring every offering of gin and shell. Ayiba stood by him, her presence a living testimony to courage and loyalty. Mama Ine and Ebipre's mother offered blessing at each ritual, their voices weaving prayer into the delta air. With each new moon, the mangroves grew stronger, their roots deepening in the riverbed, silent pillars of the pact between human and spirit. Ebipre knew the river's hunger would awaken again, that Oruere remained forever watchful. But he also knew he had learned the greatest lesson, that power given to feed must be matched by humility returned. And so, beneath the moonlight and mist, the village of Kalama thrived. Mangroves stretched tall, their roots like guardians, and the river sang its ancient songs of balance.